Soulframe is a co-op action hybrid MMORPG featuring a large open-world hub which branches off into smaller procedurally generated dungeons and instances. The upcoming MMORPG is being created by none other than Digital Extremes, the creators of Warframe, which is obvious when looking at the title. So Soulframe will not have any relation to Warframe whatsoever. Rather, the devs have confirmed this will be its own thing. However, the DNA can still clearly be seen when comparing the two. Digital Extremes first revealed Soulframe at TennoCon 2022, which is a yearly convention that was created to celebrate the free-to-play online game Warframe. Soulframe looks like a much slower game than its sci-fi sibling, and rightfully so. If I had to pinpoint exactly what Soulframe is, I'd say it's a mix between Elden Ring and Warframe. Currently, Soulframe is in its pre-alpha stage, and the devs have stated that they plan to make the game grow and evolve over time, just like Warframe. And most likely many of you know that Warframe is probably one of the only games that isn't stuck behind some paywall. As of yet, we aren't exactly sure on how the team will monetize this game, but if it's anything like Warframe, we have a lot to look forward to. So the developers wanted to create a game that embodied the strength and community of their previous success, while contrasting the tone and story into a less gore and more fantasy aspect environment. Soulframe focuses on themes of nature, restoration, and history in a brand new open fantasy world. The setting of Soulframe is themed around nature and the corruption of nature. The main character is an envoy who has a connection to the souls of his ancestors, who appear in the form of wandering souls. They also introduce these as characters who will help you in the game for things such as character leveling, blacksmithing, and all those things to make your character more powerful, similar to Warframe's Orbiter. The game takes place on Midrath, an island on a planet named Alka. In this world, the Ode rules supreme and has entered into a war against nature and its divine entities. This world is surrounded by corrupted nature and beasts. So this is caused by Ode, the main antagonist in Soulframe. The envoy's duty is to cleanse the corruption and restore nature to how it was. So while people may think that Soulframe is a Souls-like game, that doesn't seem to be the case. According to the devs, the team had written down a whole bunch of different names, but the themes that they wanted in Soulframe, such as fixing the soul of the world, finding your ancestors through collecting their souls in the game, interacting with other players and connecting to them, and having remnants of their souls were always in the front of their minds. So instead of ditching the name because of the obvious comparisons, the team instead decided to commit and double down on what the game's identity is right from the start. In order to be clear, they even stated, this game is not a grimdark game, meaning they intend for it to be mostly fantasy without the dark aspect. So think of the traditional fantasy style. So this all leads to the question, what is Soulframe if not a Souls-like game? While the soul part of the name might cause some unintended comparisons, the frame part is absolutely intentional, as the new title is very much meant to be associated with Digital Extremes' long-running, free-to-play, multiplayer sci-fi title Warframe. So if we set the story aside and look at the combat system, this is where things get a bit controversial. So last year when the official gameplay was revealed, a lot of people said that the combat was the only thing lacking in the game. Back then it looked kind of janky and the impact hits weren't there at all, as well as no character reaction. So fast forward a couple of months. Now with Prelude 9, which is a pre-alpha build, the combat looks much better than it looked back then. So I've put quite a bit of hours into this, and it feels good. Although maybe some more work is needed when it comes to that aspect of the game. However, the devs did say that the combat is still a work in progress, and it'll likely improve with player feedback as the pre-alpha evolves. So overall, the game's foundation is really good, and I think we might just have the next big MMO in our hands, which could possibly dethrone Elden Ring in the future. But as I said, as of now, it's still a work in progress.